Alright, this is the MIDEAST HARESCRAMBLE Series, race 13, round 13, at the airport in Hickory, North Carolina. Bet C again, that's what I'm going to run until I start finishing in the top 3. This race was actually quite a lot of fun. You can get another good start, come in, I think in the 3rd into the woods-ish. It's kind of wide, like the whole trail was pretty fast and pretty wide. A 3rd into here, and then jumped into by 2 guys. And they all wanted it more than I did. I always run the first lap a little conservative because I don't know how to predict what's going on, and I don't know how anybody can really ride a lot faster in the first lap, but I mean, there are totally ways of doing it. The trail was really muddy, as you can tell by the lens already being covered in mud, and it was friggin' packed. There were a billion people here. I'm not sure how many were total, but there were 21 guys on my line. You can see these guys. It stayed pretty busy. It was fun to run with all these guys. Oh, this guy goes down. I reclaimed my 2 spots. Move on with that. The ruts and everything got really developed, and it turned into not single line, but if you weren't very particular about where you went, you could end up down like that guy. This is just the same position in a different lap. I was cleaning my GoPro off and then got a chance to actually get a good view of what the track looked like. You can see the ruts in the track and how slick it looks. It tacked up really well by the 4th and 5th lap. I was trying to hotline that guy and just made a bad decision. He was more committed than I was. There were a couple spots where it was like single line. It was all about this wide. I think the 4-wheelers in this course ran this whole course. So there were some spots where it got real wide and kind of soupy. I followed this guy for not quite a ways. I followed him for a little bit because I have a bad track record of running into people. So until I have a pretty clear way of passing somebody, I tend to lay back, so I will not take anybody out. And I saw it was clear enough that I could stand up and get on a little bit and get by him. There was a lot of braking bumps that started to develop as the track got beat in. And then it would come into these really fast sections into stuff like this where it was like good single track or just fast, tight sections. And then it would come out and open up into a field, which is what it does here, but I think I'd skip it. Yeah, skip that part. There were 3 checkpoints. Came in here, and kids sitting on a 4-wheeler to see your number. This little downhill section was fun. It was always moving well. I gotta say that with all the traffic that was in this race, it was nice to have somebody around all the time. I complained one time before about NCHSA, where I was in a race and it turned out I was just by myself the whole time. And I can't really push myself when I'm alone the whole time. It's hard for me to actually gauge my speed, so I feel like I'm moving okay, but I'm really actually going kind of slow because I'm riding conservatively. In this race with so many people, it was nice to see somebody all the time, and I could kind of gauge where I was, whether it be everybody was a C rider in this, and there were some Masters A guys, and there's a Masters A division, and some, I think, ex-pros, and some of the pros were running like Unlimited or Trail Rider or something like that. There was a little bit of contention about that, but either way, it was nice to see some fast guys and then give you a gauge of how quickly you should be moving. This guy was on like a CR125, a CR250, I'm not sure exactly, and I followed him for quite a ways. It was the same thing. I felt like if I really wanted to push, I could get up past him, but I thought, man, he's not my class, and I'm not going to really just shove him out of the way. And then he does this. I don't know where he goes. He turns and then kind of disappears, and I never saw him. I guess it's just a different line. I'm not sure exactly. This is a good layout of the track. It was just, like I said, wide and fast for most of the whole course. It got down to where there was the top portion of the track, and then it dropped down a hill, a rocky, hilly section. Drops down the hill, and then it turns into just a swamp. And you can see there, which is soupy, single line kind of traction. This is one of those sections I was talking about where I'm kind of by myself, and you can tell my pace is kind of backed off. Punch a tree. Anyway, my pace is backed off a little bit. This was a weird section. There's like this hole, and that's all it was. It was just a hole, and there was a way around it. And that sweeper guy gave me a thumbs up. Kind of, he approved of my ability to get over the hole, I guess. It was just a weird section to have. I actually came across there again later, and there was a guy whose bike was 90% in the hole. It was just his tail exhaust and his rear wheel sticking up. This section was, there were a few bottlenecks that happened here. So this section was by the creek, and then you'd run along here, and you can see it's kind of beat in, but not really bad until you get to about here, and then it turns into just swamp. It's just thick, shitty mud, and it got worse and worse. This pipe that's in front of me actually broke, and then all where the guy in front of me is, it was just crap. This is later on in the race. This is 4th lap, I think. And I took a high line. I always take a high line there. There was a rock. That Shinko tire I have, people don't like it, but I gotta say that it performed really, really well in this race. I didn't get through here on this lap smooth, but I was not waiting on everybody's. I'm not waiting in line to get by everybody. I'm gonna find myself a way through here. So you can see how bad it gets. Everybody just bottlenecks up, and then it turns into this just cluster trying to get through here. And guys were, like, even in the first lap, second lap, there were guys spinning everywhere and just flailing around. And the roots in the roots in the mud were bad, but it wasn't unmanageable. You can see I pick an okay line and force my way up the hill. This is that same place earlier on when there were less people. You can see I get a pretty clean run into it and rough it. And there's not really any issue there. I can just motor on up, but either way, even on this lap, there were guys getting pushed up and laying down, and it was bad. It was always somebody stuck there. This section was fun. This was, you go up that hill climb and then immediately down. And this downhill section was, somebody had advertised it pretty much beforehand, showing like, wow, look at the course. It was steep rocks is all it really was. And it wasn't terribly, it was technical, but it wasn't terribly difficult. You just had to pick a good line. I always went to that left-hand side and then came around. I watched some of the fast guys in my group just barrel down that hill, and apparently there was like a 2-foot drop over somewhere on the other side of that would just wreck you if you just decided not to go down it right. And this is fast section next to the creek again. It was kind of sandy and whoopy. Later on the track, it really slowed me down. Another bottleneck. This was really bad. There were, I don't know how many people, 40 guys or something sitting here, it seemed like. Just everybody was hanging out. This is that same hill, but at a clean run. You can see it's steep and rocky, but it's not horrible. And so, this looks like we go ride Brown Mountain and stuff, and that's just what Brown Mountain is, so I'm lucky that I've been able to go there. And this is the same thing, like, I'm not waiting in line for everybody to just decide where they're going to go. So if I can find a way to move up, I'm moving up. But I can't get too creative with the way I move up. I've got to be, I can't just shoot into the woods right there and hope I'm going to get back on the race line, because then I cut out too much of the track. So I figured if I got close enough to where everybody was, I can make a decision to start shooting into the woods, and then I could, make my own path. So here I go. Pivot up. And alright, see you boys. Up the hill. I'm gonna go bushwhacking. You see another guy up there? I'm not far off the race line. I'm just not sitting in traffic. And I get up here, there's a couple guys that follow me up. I hit this little sapling and kind of topple over. I'm going to a little high-speed thing here where I try to recover. In real time, this took me like 45 seconds or something, I think, to actually make up the time. I got stuck in that tree, and then there was a vine, and then this guy, blah, blah, blah. And I just was determined that I was going to get going, so I get stuck on a little root, and I'm screaming my bike. It is not excited about whatever I'm doing. And we finally get out of there. I still made it up that hill faster than, 95% of those people. More than that, probably. You guys pushing. It was tough. That was a tough section, but if you got a good run at it, it wasn't that bad. This is the top of that hill at a later time. You can get a little faster. It's a good run in. I screamed at that guy because I was scared that there's always people walking on the trails, and I've about hit people before, so I always try to hoot, make sure that people know where I'm coming from. This hill was a little weird. It had a lot of roots on it. It wasn't quite as slick as the first one where it was bottlenecked up, so it didn't turn into as much as a problem. So this one it was just a faster section. It was nice to be able to get up somewhere and not really have to worry about a billion people being in the way. And like I said, I don't know how many people there were total. There was a ton of freaking people at this race. It was a lot of fun. I'll show you, this is just another example of how muddy it was. I was chasing this fast guy. You can see it's just a creek into a rock. I watched a lot of guys crash there. Just slide out because that rock was so slick. And As I gotta say, that Shinko tire was pretty amazing. I'm glad I had it. You see another mud pit. This is the same creek, but on the other side, you just go up the hill, back down the other side. It never got super deep, but it was one of those things where, you know, your peg's deep, or maybe a little less than that. Check at the camera. I made sure it was clean this time. I wanted to get a good video without having a bunch of glare and crap on it. The rest of the course was just pretty quick and open. It was a nice course, and once you learn the layout of it, it could move pretty well. I gotta say, I felt pretty good at this race. I ended up in 5th out of 21, I think is what the final number ended up being. I'm not disappointed at all. I was really excited that I got that good of a place and rode pretty consistently, and by the end of it, I can tell I'm getting better, and it's nice to be able to see that you're getting better at racing, and be able to notice that you're getting better in like just measurable ways. I'm not as tired afterwards, I'm not as sore afterwards, all that good stuff. I know in the off season I need to do some stuff like my shoulders are wrecked, I need to do some shoulder work. I need to work on my endurance, so I'm not getting gassed by the end of it. I need to be my fastest lap as my last lap because I can make up some time with everybody getting tired. This is the last section before sporing. It was just roots, mud, and pine trees. It was really nice. I like this kind of stuff, but it was 3 off kind of for the end of it. Or at least it did for me. There's a lot of guys moving through here really quick. I about crashed in here one time because I punched a tree. And you can see, I don't know if in this lap, but in one of the laps you can see me hit my handguard. I'd actually gone down. I think in this race I only crashed once. You come over this little section, there's some mulch. I guess that mulch is really weird to ride in. It's like sand, but it doesn't react the same. It's like just sucks up all your speed. But here's the last couple turns into scoring. I think in this lap, it was probably my slowest actually. I was ended up 7th into this one. Yep, 7th into that. And then it's back out into the main part of the course. It was really fast, really fun. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.